We're joined from Ramallah by the spokesperson of the Palestinian National Liberation Movement, Fattah, Ahmed Fattouh. Mr. Ahmed, thank you so much for joining us on Qnews. And first off, in your opinion, why has Hamas intensified its rocket fire towards Israel in recent times?
First, I would send my prayers to our victims in Gaza who are suffering this brutal, inhumane genocide perpetrated by the Israeli occupation. Our people are steadfast and resilient in their struggle for freedom and liberation. What we could analyze that after the intensifying of Israeli attacks in Gaza, whipping out the north and destroying a huge amount of lands in the south of Rafah and devastating the Palestinian people. Probably that response, by Hamas is trying to show that they are still fighting in the ground. But Israel has shown a huge amount of brutality and using mass weapon of mass destruction against the Palestinian people.
With the Israeli defense minister threatening to intensify the bombing on Gaza Strip with a force never seen before, and with Donald Trump reaffirming the need to release the Israeli detainees, what are the chances to reach a ceasefire agreement before Trump officially takes office?
We don't see that Netanyahu is serious or sincere in making a ceasefire deal. Netanyahu's plan is pretty obvious from the very beginning, is to displace the Palestinian people, terminate the Palestinian people, and target all the sources of life in Gaza. And his plan is beyond Gaza. It's also in the West Bank, in Jerusalem. And he's bombing in Syria, bombing in Lebanon. This is a man of war, a man of genocide. He does not care about anything. And he does not care about the Israeli prisoners as well. What they want is to put the plan of displacing and exterminating the Palestinian people forward. They are using October 7 as an excuse since the beginning of this genocidal war. So I don't believe that Netanyahu is clear about his finding a ceasefire, and with the unconditional support that they have from the United States, unfortunately, is giving him the green light to continue doing these mass crimes against humanity.
But sir, don't you think that the dire situation of detainees in Gaza due to the ongoing bombardment by the Israeli occupation forces could perhaps pressure Israel to reach a ceasefire agreement?
I don't think so. I'm sorry. Well, without the international pressure over Israel and without holding Israel accountable, there will not be a ceasefire. Eventually, in the scale of war, Israel is not having much losses in its sides compared to the losses that we are having in our side. So it's the whole international community that should intervene and step forward and
Ever since the Israeli media reported that there has been some progress in the ceasefire talks, the Israeli occupation forces intensified its military campaign against Gaza and the West Bank, and especially in northern Gaza, with the forced evacuations of Kamal Adwan Hospital and the Indonesian hospital. How do you interpret these actions and the contradiction we're witnessing?
Sorry, I didn't hear the question quite clearly. There was interruption in the voice.
I was talking about how the Israeli media, ever since they started reporting that there has been some progress in the ceasefire talks, Israeli occupation forces have intensified their military campaign against Gaza, especially in the northern parts, with the forced evacuations of Kamal Adwan Hospital and the Indonesian hospital. How do you view this contradiction?
Well, I hope these talks in Cairo and the pressure from our brothers in Cairo and Egypt could, be successful in making a ceasefire. And we really need to have a ceasefire as soon as possible. There is a humanitarian catastrophe. What Israel is doing, I believe that Netanyahu is crippling this ceasefire. Netanyahu does not want this to end because Netanyahu sees very well that the day this war will end, he's going to go to jail for corruption cases and to the international court for his crime against the humanity of genocide, which is, has issued a warrant against him and the war criminal Gallant. So Netanyahu is putting all his pressure not to make this ceasefire take place.
What about the anger that Netanyahu is facing from the families of detainees inside Israel? Will he eventually yield to the pressure from those families?
He has been under this pressure for more than 12 months now. So I don't see that pressure is, doing any push forward to the ceasefire. I think the true and more strong pressure is this unconditional support that Israel enjoys from the United States and other Western powers need to stop. I'm not very hopeful that the ceasefire, that Netanyahu is going to make any ceasefire without, American pressure.
Lastly, sir, what about the internal divisions inside Netanyahu's government? How do you view the major disagreements within the Israeli government in recent times?
Well, there is a huge disagreement of Netanyahu policies because he's leading, his country into, an absolute devastation. The image of Israel is now collapsing all over the world. It is a country that's practicing genocide, occupation, and then apartheid. And the image of Israel is collapsing, and the Western power and the Western support is diminishing. Netanyahu does not think in terms of, in favor of everyone or in favor of his own people, but he thinks of himself and how he could gain from this mass destruction of the Palestinian people. And let's be clear, his intentions from the very beginning is the extermination of the Palestinian people and displace us, forcefully displace us from our land. What's happening in Gaza has nothing to do with October 7 or his claims or his claimed goals that he wants to end Hamas. He wants to end the Palestinian people, and he has said it, indirectly and sometimes directly many times.
That was the spokesperson of the Palestinian National Liberation Movement, Ahmed Fattouh. Thank you, sir, so much for your insights.